Now let us study topic 2.6.1, classification of errors. Here we'll understand different type of errors. The errors that occur during the measurement of a physical quantities are mainly divided into three categories. First is systematic errors, second random errors, third least count errors. Let us understand them one by one. Let us see systematic errors. The errors that are unidirectional in nature, which means they are either positive or negative, are known as systematic errors. See, systematic error is either positive or either negative only. That means it is unidirectional. That is known as systematic error. For a given setup, systematic errors can be estimated and necessary correction can be done to the measured values. Some of the sources of systematic errors are described below. See, because systematic error is unidirectional, so either it would be in positive or either it will be in negative value. That's why it can be estimated and then can be corrected. If you already know that this much positive addition is there as an error or this much negative subtraction is there as an error in the measurement, then we can remove it, we can correct it. Some of the sources of systematic errors are described below. The sources from which this systematic error can occur are given below. The first is instrumental errors. This error occurs due to faulty or wrongly calibrated measuring instrument. For example, a meter scale worn off from one end would cause error in measurement. Suppose you are measuring something with a meter scale, but one of the end of that meter scale is broken. So obviously, whatever reading you will be taking will be having a constant fixed value of error. So this is error due to instrument. Similarly, if the zero of the vernier scale and the main scale do not coincide, it may cause error in measurement. This is also known as zero error. You will learn vernier calipers in your physics practical. There, before taking the reading, you have to check whether the zero of main scale and zero of vernier scale are coinciding or not. If it is not coinciding, that means all the measurement whatever you do with that vernier will have a fixed amount of error every time you take the reading. So that will become an instrumental error. One more example, if the temperature graduation of thermometer is inadequately calibrated, it may read 104 degrees Celsius at the boiling point of the water at STP, whereas it should read only 100 degrees Celsius. Such type of error is called as instrumental error. See, if you are having a thermometer where the temperature which are printed are not at the right distance. So in this case, whatever temperature you will measure will always show some fixed error. So it will show 104 degrees Celsius at 100 degrees Celsius, or it may show 96 degrees Celsius also at 100 degrees Celsius. It depends on how the error is there in the printing of the temperature on the thermometer. So this is called as instrumental errors. Second, imperfection in experimental technique or procedure. If the experimental technique or the process of the experiment is not right, then obviously it will produce some sort of error. An error occurring in measurement due to a wrong experimental technique or procedure gives rise to such error. Means if the experimental technique is wrong or the procedure is wrong, obviously some error will occur. For example, to measure a person's body temperature, if the thermometer is placed in his or her armpit, the measured temperature will always be less than the actual body temperature. We know While measuring the body temperature, doctor always put the thermometer below your tongue, and that too up to 45 seconds. But if you place it at the armpit, obviously the temperature will be less, and that's why the body temperature, what we take as a reference, and that's why we will measure a wrong body temperature. Also, external conditions such as changes in temperature, changes in humidity, changes in wind velocity, etc., during the experiment may systematically affect the measurement of the physical quantity. This is very obvious. When the temperature changes during the experiment, obviously the length expansion of objects will vary, and that's why the readings may vary. Humidity also plays some role in particular type of experiment. The wind velocity will also play some role. Suppose you are measuring a speed of an object thrown in free air, but at that time wind is blowing now. So obviously the reading will vary. So the measurement will be wrong in that case, whatever physical quantity you are measuring. Such errors are due to imperfection in experimental technique or procedure. We have already seen that this error is due to imperfection in experimental technique or procedure. Let us see personal error. These measurement errors occur due to an individual's bias or the improper setting of apparatus or an individual's carelessness in taking observation without required precautionary measures. These errors differs from person to person. See, when an individual is doing an experiment, he should not be biased. Means he should not be thinking like that the observation will come towards this. Suppose somebody is measuring gravitational acceleration. We know the true value of gravitational acceleration is 9.8. So if the person is knowing and if he is biased that this is 9.8, then the real experimental result, whatever will be coming, it may be different, but the person will be pulling that observations towards 9.8. So this is a bias situation where the individual bias is changing the result of the measurement. Also, the setting of apparatus should be proper. If something is vibrating, if the apparatus is not set well, then the readings will definitely vary. Here, an individual's care is required to take the observations with some precautionary measures. If he is not taking that precautionary measure, obviously there will be some error. And this is all due to a person. That's why it is known as personal error or say individual error. This error obviously differs from person to person. Obviously different person will do different such type of errors. For example, if you by habit always hold your head a bit too far to the right while reading the position of a needle on the scale, you will introduce an error due to parallax. Suppose you are having a habit of putting your head somewhat right side while measuring the reading in a meter. So that meter is having a pointer and below that pointer the readings are written. But you are keeping your head always little bit right side. That's why due to parallax the reading what you really observe will not be there. The reading will be different and what you are observing will be different. So this is a personal error. There is a note here. Systematic errors can be minimized by improving experimental techniques, selecting better instruments, removing personal bias as far as possible. See, because this is a systematic error, so we can predict that this much error is there. So when we take any observation and when we get the error, then we can reduce it, we can minimize it by improving the experimental techniques whatever we have used there. by selecting better instruments and by removing the personal bias as far as possible. So, these are the ways by which systematic error can be reduced. For a given setup, these errors may be estimated to a certain extent and the necessary correction may be applied to the readings. As I said, systematic error can be predicted. We can come to know, we can estimate up to certain extent that how much error is there. So obviously we can correct it also. If we already know that this much is the error, then obviously we can correct it. Now second, random error. The error due to unpredictable variation in the experimental conditions. Unpredictable variations in the experimental conditions such as fluctuation in temperature during the experiment, voltage supply, fluctuation in the voltage supply, and mechanical vibrations of the experimental setups. See, these are all unpredictable things. If suddenly temperature varies where the experiment is taken place, so that is unpredictable, but it will affect the readings. Suddenly some voltage surge is coming, some voltage change is coming in the voltage supply, whatever you have kept. And you might not be even aware of it that this much voltage has been changed. But it will obviously affect the experimental results because many of the instruments are electronic. You are measuring many things by electronic instruments. So if suddenly some voltage changes, it will affect the reading what you are noting. So this is unpredictable. Also, suppose some mechanical vibration is taking place and the experimental results are being affected by that mechanical vibration. Suppose some JCB is digging near the laboratory and that is producing a vibration. We don't know, but this vibration is affecting the experimental result. So, in that case, this is a random error, unpredictable error. Also, due to personal unbiased errors by the observer who is taking the readings, etc., are known as random errors. Even person may do some errors. Even if he is unbiased, then also he may do some error. So these are all random errors. These are not predictable. These errors occur irregularly and vary in size and sign, that means plus and minus. See, there is no particular nature of this random error. This is very irregular. It may come sometimes, it may not. And it differ in size also. Means sometimes the error will be very small, sometimes this type of error will be very large. It may differ in sign also. Means sometimes this error will be plus and sometimes the error will be minus. Means the observation will be plus than the real observation or the observation will be somewhat minus than the real observation. So this is random error. For example, a person measures a physical quantity twice using the same experimental setup and the same procedure. Still, he may get different reading due to random errors. This we know. Suppose you are measuring the same thing with the same instrument, let us say 10 times. Then you will see all the 10 observation will not be same. Why it is not same? Whereas the observation is taken by you only at the same time with the same instrument. Still, all the observations are not same. Why? Because of random errors. Then the third is least count error. The least count error is the error associated with the resolution of measuring instrument. See, resolution of the measuring instrument is a very important factor that is affecting the measurement. So, least count error is the error associated with the resolution of measuring instrument. Now, before we go further, we need to understand what is this least count. So, here is the definition of least count. The smallest value of that can be measured by an instrument is termed as least count of that instrument. The smallest value of measurement that you can take by one instrument is known as the least count of that instrument. For example, the least count of a meter scale is 0.1 centimeter, and for the vernier scale it is 0.01 centimeter. For a screw gauge it is 0.001 centimeter. See, by meter scale you can measure minimum up to 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter, that means 0.1 centimeter. So that is the least count of meter scale. Now, least count error belongs to the category of random errors, but within a limited size it occurs with both systematic and random errors too. Least count is basically a type of random error, but within a limited size it is also systematic error and random error too. This you will understand later on while we will be solving some numericals. Using instruments of higher precision, improving experimental techniques, etc., we can reduce the least count error. Obviously, if you are using instruments of higher precision, means instead of using meter scale, if you are using a vernier scale, then obviously the precision is more. So, this least count error will reduce. Also, improving the experimental techniques. Sometimes by changing the technique of measurement, we can reduce this least count error. Repeating the observations several times and taking the arithmetic mean of all the observations, the mean value would be very close to the true value of the measured quantity. This also reduces least count error. One another method is of taking average, taking average of the observations. So whenever any experiment is done in physics, we always try to take as maximum as possible readings, and then we take a arithmetic mean of that all readings. So the value what we get, the mean value what we get, will be very close to the true value. So by this method we can reduce the least count error. The least counts of the measuring instrument play a very significant role in the precision associated with the experiments. Therefore, scientists are constantly striving to design measuring instruments and measuring techniques that have smaller values of least counts. You have seen already that least count is playing a very important role in measurement. So, scientists are trying to create that type of instruments and that type of measuring techniques by which we can have smaller values of least counts.